And with that being said, picking this up on my. Well, whether you're red or red. Does that mean? Come on and show. We're getting, if you can't see it on your end and Zoom, we're getting a bunch of feedback. Just turn it on. How about let's see something. That's the audio, but not the speakers.
More audio is picking up.
Yeah, I don't know why. Any ideas? Hello.
It's really weird. I could be.
What's that?
I don't know how I usually do it differently.
Yeah. I don't know why this audio here.
Turn it off.
It's off. My speaker's off. That's the weird part.
Can you mute yourself?
I'm muted on Zoom. Muted on Zoom and my speaker's off. Yeah, it's not picking it up. Oh, no. That's the power of HP over those inferior Apple products. See what we have here.
Try again.
No. Apologize, everybody. We'll get it figured out. Oh, you might have done something.
There we go.
What did you
I
do?
got it. You had your computer audio on, so it was picking up through the mic and all that. So you're good.
I apologize for the dog. So anybody that's done this before, I welcome any input both online and here. But what I'm going to talk about are some basic principles of canceled and expires. The very first thing I'm going to share is, for those of you that have called on canceled and expires before, you ever had folks kind of angry at the call, maybe not welcoming the call so much? Why do you think that is? I mean, what has your experience been?
At their house.
What was that?
They're mad at the previous agent that overpromised and.
Right, so you've got somebody that could potentially be, thank you. You've got somebody that could potentially be angry that it didn't work out. You were saying?
I said a lot of times people think it's a spam call and right away they quickly share up.
Sure, right, they distrust the motive in the beginning. What about, what else? What else might be happening?
They feel like, sorry, go ahead, Dave. They're tired of all the emails and the phone calls.
Yeah, they're getting a lot.
Where
They're
were
getting
you?
a lot.
Where were you when my house was for sale?
That's right. So the idea is that when somebody's home comes off the market, there's a mad rush of agents to call and email and send postcards, knock on their door, try to get their attention. And the very few people that get there first will probably get an audience, at least over the phone with these folks. But after that, they start to get less and less interested in talking to us. So there can be a diminishing return. They may get 30, 40, 50 calls in a matter of a few days at their house. Their phone might be blowing up in their pocket at work. They're getting frustrated by all these calls. So you can be met with a lot of frustration. So that's one of the things I would say tends to be kind of something that deflates. Do you guys have a marker back there by chance?
Dry erase.
Right over here. Yeah.
Right there.
I could use a non-dry erase, but that's.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. Don't. So one of the things that deflates a lot of agents in this space is the fact that you continue to be met with angry customers. And unless you guys are telling me something different, I doubt anybody ever got into this business to work with angry customers, right? Who's the newest in here? Like, who's been doing this for less than a couple of years? Couple people in here. Why'd you get into the business?
For many reasons, but a lot of it is working with people.
Right. Did you imagine that you'd be working with angry people? Did you look forward to working with angry? Right, exactly. Can anybody say that they were looking forward to working with angry people? Pretty much not. I mean, that's not why we get into this business. So this is something that you will come up against in canceled and expires and something that will deflate folks. The other thing you guys mentioned on it, the competition to get these listings is fierce. It is fierce. I mean, people are showing up on their doorstep. The phone is ringing off the hook. The mailbox is jam-packed with postcards. The competition's fierce. This is a really easy way to get deflated and stop doing it. I called it canceled. They yelled at me. I don't want to have that ever happen again. I'm going to get out of the business or whatever. You know, it can feel that way sometimes. What are a few ways, Dave, I'm going to point to you because you said you've been doing this and you've had a plan in place to do this. What are the few ways that you've combated these challenges?
I'm only door knocking.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't waste time with phone calls or mailers.
I like it.
That doesn't differentiate me from my competition at all. I'm just more background noise.
In case you guys that online can't hear that, Dave said that he is solely going to these houses and door knocking. Now that's telling me a couple of things because there's another issue that we come up against with cancels and it expires when it comes to getting in touch with them. Can anybody guess what that might be? How do we usually get in touch with these folks other than door knocking? And what can happen with a phone call? Not only that, what else? Hey, what's that?
Not answer.
They might not answer. They might not ever pick up the phone. Could it be a bad number that we're looking up? Might not be an accurate number. And what's the last thing that you're going to find over 50% of the people are on? Yeah, that's right. The do not call list. And I can't stress this enough when we get into what I'm going to show you a little bit later here with some of the strategies that we use to contact these folks. If people are on the do not call list, you do not call them. Okay. You're going to talk to other colleagues that are going to tell you, don't worry about it. We have a script to handle that. That's great until you get a $40,000 fine. Okay. And they are not kidding. They're not kidding about the do not call list. Trust me. If I knew a way around the do not call list, I would call it. Okay. It's not. It's for real. You will get in trouble. There is a do not door knock list though. Yeah, you can door knock all day long. So door knocking is going to help overcome the do not call list. It's going to help overcome bad phone numbers. It's going to help overcome people not picking up. And quite frankly, when they see your smiling face at the door, Dave, right? Because honestly, think about this. Maybe you guys aren't like me, but I am this way. Have you ever been on the phone call with somebody and they've got really nasty with you? Do you get kind of angry yourself? I do. Yeah. And I take it personally a little bit. They don't know me from you. They could see me at the grocery store 5 minutes later. They wouldn't have known it was me that called and they might have a cheery conversation with me. They're mad at their situation. What's the chance they're going to yell at you and you tell us, you've been door knocking. What's the chance they're going to yell at you when you're knocking at the door?
You know, about 30% of the time, they're pretty upset.
And out of that 30%, how many of times have they used harsh language with you or told you to get off their property?
30% of the time.
Oh, 30%. So,
Okay,
all right.
no, go away, never.
Okay,
Then you follow up with a note.
there you go.
You give them a hand-delivered note.
There you go. So the reality though is
Then they call you back and you have a meeting.
I would say on the phone, you're probably going to find a greater than 30% chance that you're going to encounter somebody on the other line that's not happy about your phone call. And they might even take it out on you a little bit negatively. Yep.
Also, to your point, Graham, I feel like the level of upsetness raises on the phone. I think people feel more confident to be more rude on the phone
That's
than
right.
your face. When I go door knocking, I've had like, no, thank you, leave me alone, and a
Yeah.
door slam, and that is rude, but it's not.
It's not screaming.
Yeah, there's no cuss words usually.
That's right.
involved
That's
over-
right.
Over door knocking.
That's right. People are going to be a lot less confrontational face to face than they are going to be voice to voice.
Yeah.
So there's a positive there. We're facing the angry customers. We're facing the competition. We're facing the do not call list. Bad numbers, bad info. There's a number of different places you can go get people's phone numbers online, and there's no magic pill here. None of them are better than the others, in my opinion. They're going to ebb and flow. Sometimes this platform is going to have better numbers than that platform, and then sometimes that platform. Over time, you're going to find that you're just going to have to deal with it. You're going to find a number of bad numbers, and then you're going to have a bunch of people not listed at all. You can't even get a hold of them other than sending them a mailer. or knocking on their door. With that being said, you've door knocked. I'm talking about calling here. I know, Dave, you said you don't use mailers. We're going to talk a little bit about mailers in a minute and a way that you might want to consider using them. But the reality here is, guys, is that I would wager that a lot of you are not interested in investing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into this at this moment in time. Would that be safe to say? However, we do have time. You can invest hundreds of hours. And I would tell you that you're going to use your time here to put some plan together. And I'm going to give you that plan today to walk away with so that you can go right out there and take advantage of this. Now, we talked about the fact that people are going to be angry when you're calling them because they're getting all of these phone calls. They might even be angry 30% of the time when you're door knocking them because they're getting all of this information and they're upset that their house didn't sell. Okay. What do you think happens if you put a little bit of time between that consumer and the day that you're contacting them? Do you think that their anger increases or decreases? It decreases, right? Do you think that the competition increases or decreases?
Decreases.
Absolutely decreases. The reality is that we're going to talk about strategies, both about what you can do right now today to a brand new cancel and what you can do for older cancels. 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 1 year ago. Let me ask you this. If somebody failed to sell 1 year ago, do you think anybody is calling them? Almost nobody. There might be one or two, but it's almost unheard of. Do you think anybody's knocking on their door right now? I would guarantee you nobody's knocking on their door right now. In fact, for general door knocking in general, whether it's this or any other source of business, I have never, ever run into another realtor. It has never happened while I was door knocking. And I've door knocked very popular neighborhoods. I've never come across another realtor. It's never happened. I've never been on the coattails of another realtor who was right around the block ahead of me. It's never happened. Yet there's tens of thousands of us. The chances of you being in competition to knock on a door of a canceled or expired that canceled a year ago is pretty much zero. Okay, you are going to have their undivided attention. So there is some value in looking back to find out, are there any folks there? So Dave, do you do that too in your plan? I'm going to move this chair a little bit. Do you look at older canceled and expireds?
Sure.
Yeah. How far back do you typically go?
I'll go back a year.
Okay. Now, to make this kind of a manageable process, I'm going to put some parameters around it, but you feel free to open up these parameters as much as you see fit. One of the things that I found myself and other agents over the years, whenever we get great ideas in the new year, we go all in and we make this 10-point plan about how we're going to do it. And I'm not going away from a plan. We need a plan and we need to have 10 points is great. But the reality is we put this big giant thing into effect that I'm going to do the whole entire 7-county metro. I'm going to call every cancel and expired that ever listed. And I'm going to go ahead and get thousands of listings next year. And then after about 30 days, we get deflated because none of it's working. We've taken on too much and we're not having any success. And we go back to what we know, holding open houses, doing whatever it is we do with TikTok videos. The reality, though, is that if you put some parameters around this, you're going to have a lot more success. I would challenge you to find a manageable way to handle this, have some success with it, and grow from there, rather than start here and find yourself whittling yourself down because there's not enough time. Currently speaking, do you guys have a geographic farm you target? Okay. Do you have a geographic farm you would like to target? Do you all live in a neighborhood somewhere, right? Do you ever see a sign in your neighborhood by somebody else, a list for sale sign? Yeah. How does that make you feel? Man, I cut them down. Yeah.
That's what happened to my signs.
Just with my chainsaw, slice it right down, throw it in the snow. Now it feels terrible. Why not start with a geographic area? Okay. And I would challenge you guys to do this. Identify a geographic area by its boundaries on the MLS. And if you haven't done this, and I apologize if I'm wasting your time and showing you something you already know, see if we can see this. Go to a map search. All right. Go into the MLS. And however it is you want to do it, I'll give you an example. Okay. I live over in the Page neighborhood, which is over by Pearl Park. Okay. It's right in here. So maybe I want to start with my neighborhood, which is defined pretty much by by the Parkway, over to Portland, back to Diamond Lake Road to the highway here. Maybe I want to define that as my neighborhood. Maybe I want to increase that boundary to something larger to include other areas, right? And if you didn't see what I did this polygon and I drew parameters around where I wanted to set my boundaries. And then maybe what I want to do is set up a search. I'm going to go back to criteria here. So guys, I went into the multiple listing service. I went to a single family home search. I put a map in here and I'm going to click canceled and expired. Now it auto populates 0 to 180 days. Maybe I want to find out what's coming on every single day or every single week. Let's go 0 to 7. All right. 1. 5325 Columbus. Maybe I want to call this and we'll come back to that. Now I can set this up as an auto search for myself so that it notifies me on a daily basis by sending me an email whenever an expired or canceled comes into that geographic boundary. Okay. And it'll come in every single day and I'll be able to look at it. It'll be dummy proof. I'll put a title in there that says something. I'll usually put like asterisk, 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 uppercase letters, canceled in my neighborhood, asterisk, so it's like right there in my inbox. I can't miss it. And every day I can look at that and I can go in there. I can call on it. I can go door knock on it because it's right in the neighborhood. That's easy. I don't have to drive across town. And maybe I want to try to control every single canceled and expired. I would challenge every single one of you online too to control every single canceled and expired in your neighborhood. And I know that none of you live in my neighborhood, the Page neighborhood, so stay out of it. But I know Casla is like across the way. But other than that, you know, own your own neighborhood. You should own every single canceled and expired in your neighborhood. Or at least have an opportunity to talk to them. Knock on their door. I'm not just an agent. I'm your neighbor. I saw the house didn't sell. How can I help? Let me give me an opportunity, right? We can talk about scripture on that later. But the reality is that is a place to start. Now, if you want to, you're finding that there's only one here. That's not a lot of data to work with. Maybe you want to have a bigger area. Fine. Grow the map outwards. I used to live on 40th and Columbus for 13 years before I moved into this house 5 years ago. I still target that area as my farm, okay? If you look at the geographic area, equal size of 40th and Columbus and equal size of my neighborhood, it's 4 times as many homes sell per year in that geographic radius versus the geographic radius of my neighborhood. I'm going to have much greater opportunity to list homes in that than I am in mine. But I still want to be in mine because the average sale price in mine is double of that. So obviously it makes financial sense. But look at things like that when you're setting your boundaries. Look at things like price. You may want to, it's up to you. You may want to set a mandatory minimum on the price of what you're going to go after. You may not. Does it make sense to list for $100,000? I don't know. You'll make that decision for yourselves based on where your business is at. I would challenge everybody right now, though, to get outside of your bounds and list outside of what you're comfortable with. That means on the low end and the high end, by the way. Don't ever anticipate that you can't go talk to a 7-figure listing that's canceled, and don't ever anticipate you can't talk to a $99,000 one either, okay? We can tell stories, and I know we all have anecdotal stories about this. It happened a lot more 10 years ago, but in that downturn, there was plenty of foreclosures that were in the market, many of which were selling for $70,000 or $80,000. And sometimes we would get calls about these and they wouldn't be exactly exciting to go see, right? They're all falling apart. And trust me, people that were looking to buy $70,000 homes, on average, you would get a lot of folks that would never make a decision to do anything. So it seemed like it was kind of a waste of time at that time in our career. But we would go do it. And I can tell you a story where we represented a person with a $70,000 home. We sold it. It was a ton of work to do it. Felt like we worked for free. And months later, their parents called us and said, "You did such a great job for our kid. We'd like you to sell our house." And they had a much more expensive property to sell. So you never know, right? You never know. You could list that $100,000 property, find 3 buyers. One of them might be looking for 300 grand who showed up that day, right? You don't know. You'll make the decisions where the parameters are. But it all starts right here in the multiple listing service if you want to go that route from a geographic area. This costs no money. It just costs time. You need to put together a plan. Stay on that plan, okay? Every single day. There's not going to be 50 in your geographic area. You're not gonna be overwhelmed with data. It's gonna be a manageable geographic area. Anybody that says, I'm too busy, I can't call 3 people a day, that's not realistic. You can totally do that. Check that out first. Try to own those. All you need to do is get 1 or 2. Create a little revenue before you start investing new revenue in all of these other services. Okay? Dave, would you add anything to that, or anybody else? Would you add anything to this about what you may or may not do? And if there's any comments online, let me know too, if anybody has anything to add in this geographic area search on the way you might be able to control this and have some success. Have you ever done any of this stuff, Dave? Yep. Where have you found any sort of bottlenecks? Where have you found success?
Staying away from the, like, you can look at them, you look them up online, how many days was it on? Was there a price drop? Was it on 150 days and there was no price drop? And you're looking something around there. Okay, this is someone that's not really motivated to sell or whatever the reasons are. And you just kind of learn through going through that. Yep, this is not something that's worth my time.
That's right.
Here's someone that's been on the market 3 times with 2 different agents. Okay, well, they're just temping it out. Let's give it a shot.
Sure.
Or here's someone that's been on 65 days and it didn't sell.
You bring up a great point. What about the folks that have been on like 3 days or 2 days or 1 day and a cancel, right? Kind of weird. Kind of strange.
That's kind of a red flag. It's like, what's
Huge
going on
red
here?
flag. Yep.
Thumbs up.
Or do you guys know about how to look for if owner is agent?
Read the remarks.
Yeah, actually. Go to this one right here. And again, everybody stay away from that one. I'm just kidding. Go get it.
River Graham has a bus stop.
Everybody, somebody online is calling them right now. It went back to active, so canceled and went back to active. So right down
That would
here.
be another thing too, is you want to look at the history tab
That's right.
right away because, oh, look at this, isn't expired. Well, all they're showing you is that old list.
So one of the things you can do, there's a tab on here that'll show you if the owner is the agent. You can also look at the tax report to see if the owner is the agent. And now I got myself out of this screen, so I cannot see as the Zillow thing.
Oh, you can drag that to the bottom or anywhere
Thank
you
you.
need to.
Perfect. Well, there you go. See, we're all learning. And what Dave was talking about, going to the history tab right here, guys. A lot of times people do a cancel and relist. I do it, you do it, we all do it, right? You cancel relist in the same moment to generate a new MLS listing. A lot of your cancels are going to show up like that. So do a quick history search to make sure this wasn't one of them. It turns out this one is, right? That way you're not wasting your time and frankly, not calling a client that's represented. Yep. Who?
On the chat.
Oh, I can't see it.
Could you read it, Ellen?
Yeah, I can't see it.
What do you say? They want their agent another chance. If they're not in a contract, but very great.
Awesome. Save that thought. We'll go right into scripts in just a moment. That's a great question. She's asking about how do we handle this objection, right? When they want to give them another shot. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. So basically, guys, what I'm getting at here is that we can have a very, very easy and identifiable way to start this process. Now, you may find I'm not having enough success in this area. Fine. Start from pick another area, expand the area, expand the radius, or pick another one in general. For example, I like to do business in Minneapolis. I love it. I love to do business where it's not a long drive from my house. I love it. Or this office, right? So I like to identify these pockets around town where I see single family homes are turning over. Do a little bit of a search here. Check this out, and I'll show you. Maybe you guys have done this again. I apologize if I'm showing you things you already know. Let's go over here. Maybe you're going to say to yourself, I'm not so sure if I want to target this area, if there's even enough data or houses that sell every year that are going to justify me spending my time. So if you ever want to check out what's a good way to identify this, I like to do a map search. And let's get rid of this map here. Let's say I'm curious, right? I'm going to go over by my old house, right? So my old house is right over here by Phelps. So let's say I'm like, I wonder how many houses have sold between Portland Avenue and let's say 38th, down to Cedar. Maybe I'm gonna go down to 46th, and I'm gonna go back over. Maybe I'm gonna identify this back. I'm curious, in this little quadrant that I've created for myself, in an area that I've sold a lot of houses in, is this an area that I want to target for my canceled and expired? So I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna measure this by first, how many houses closed in the last 6 months? 65. In that little area, there were 65 single-family homes that closed. In that little area, there were 130 transaction sites to be had between a listing and a buyer. That's a lot of transactions. That's like a 10-block radius, 15-block radius. That's a lot of transactions. That's in 6 months, right? If I go back a year, 168 transactions. We're up to 376, I think is the number. 376 transaction sites. That's a ton. By the way, you ever have anybody tell you they don't like to do business in areas? Not a good area? The 376 transaction sites. That's a great area. Love that area. I've sold more houses in that area than any area of the entire metro over my 20 years of doing this. That's where I lived for most of it. It's fantastic. Houses sell quick, right? So I like to find out what's the average days on market. We can find that out too. We can do these kind of data searches to see. Maybe you're targeting an area of canceled expires where the average days on market's a year. Oh my God, that'd be terrible, right? Might not be terrible if they've already spent a year with another agent. You might come right in and be a hero. But these are the things, like you said, Dave. You're looking at all these different metrics. When you're dealing with 4 or 5 cancels, you can look at all the metrics. But when you've set this data up, I would challenge you, make this as easy on yourself as possible. Pick an area you want to work. If that area is not producing enough canceled and expires for you, pick another area in addition to it, or expand the area, or pick 3, 4, 5, 10 areas, whatever you can manage to get to the number that you want to get to every week that you want to be contacting, and then just contact everyone that comes through. And we're going to talk about how do you contact everyone. Dave, do you use any services? You said you door knock. Yeah. Have you ever called?
At the very beginning, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else call? How do you guys find numbers?
Use the service,
Which service?
FedEx.
RedX? How about yourself? Vulcan? Yep. Anybody else? Oh, awesome. They're all great. They're all great. RedX, Vulcan, Mojo. I'm going to show you Mojo. That's what we use. And I'll tell you what, we use Mojo because that's what I've been using. Okay. We could cancel this and go to Vulcan. We could cancel this, I don't think we're going to have much of a difference. You guys can all see this here. All right. I'm already signed into our Mojo here. So this is our home screen on Mojo. I'm not going to pull up Vulcan or RedX because I don't have a subscription. But for any of you that want that, there's going to be other people in here. You could tap and ask and they'll show you. Basically what we do is this. If you're in Mojo, you go to the data dialer. You go to cancel, and there's your canceled right there. It'll show you who's on the do not call list. It'll show you the numbers that are there. And these are coming out every single day. For the people that are looking at these cancels on a regular basis, how many phone calls do you think these folks are getting on day one?
A lot.
Oh, it's obscene, right? Obscene. Now, personally, I have an inside-outside sales agent, okay? I'm not suggesting you go do that. Don't go hire somebody for this. We've reached that point in our business that it made sense to add that on. My inside-outside sales agent starts at 7 in the morning. She is on the phone call. She's one of the first people calling them. There's no doubt about it, okay? And she is amazing. She can get yelled at all day long and say, thank you, and hang up the phone and dial the next one. Like, it doesn't matter, right? That's hard to receive that. We had to contract that out because we weren't having a lot of success when I got yelled at. It's like, oh yeah, I'll tell you. So that's one way to do it, right? Now the other way, and all these services are going to have this. Cancels come in one way, the expires come in the other. For those of you that have been handling cancel and expires the last couple of years, we all know there haven't been a ton. Most of the houses have sold. There hasn't been a huge amount of inventory to even cancel in the first place. So it's not as if we're getting 15 opportunities a day here in this service. Some days there were none. All right. But you have to keep looking at it every day. So potentially you have this. Now, if you're going to look at this and have an MLS search, at times you're going to see there's data missing. It's not 100%. It's not 100% that it immediately goes into the Mojo or the Redx or the Vulcan. It's mostly 100%. But sometimes something gets missed. There's a glitch, okay? Maybe you see something on one of your services you didn't see on the MLS. You have to cross-reference it and figure it out. Don't get frustrated at that. That's just technology. That's just the way it works. I like going into these services because, as you guys know that are using them, you've got the database right here. It's dummy proof. You can go in there. You've got the number listed. You know if it's on the do not call list. You can just do your work and call the numbers. And then you can use the scripts, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But the other thing is sometimes some of these are not listed at all, right? There's no number. So, or you're doing one of these searches where you're going back and you're checking out, how about canceled and expires from 6, 8 months ago, 12 months ago? You guys know how to do that, by the way? Nope. I'll show you real quick. We'll go back over here. Let's say I want to find out. Let's say I want to find out how many homes. Let's do a bigger area here. Oh, no, that's right. We're over in this area. This will work. Let's say we want to find out how many homes canceled 6 months to a year ago. See what I did here on the cancel? I put in 180 days to 365. You can manipulate this any way you see fit. How many expired under that same time frame? Now I'm targeting only canceled and expires from 6 months ago or 6 months to a year ago. There's a very low probability that anybody's calling these folks. Now I can see that a couple of condos have popped in here. Maybe I like that, maybe I don't. Maybe I only want to concentrate on single family homes. If I did, I would just do single family homes. And now it's 6, right? I've got 6 opportunities, assuming they didn't relist and sell, which I would be wagering that someone did. But the reality is now you've got these lists you can target from 6 months ago. You can go a year ago. You can go 2 years ago. I guarantee you nobody's calling canceled from 2 years ago. What if you go 3 to 5 years ago? Guys, what's the number one reason a home doesn't sell?
Price.
Every time. Price. It's always price. No matter what our clients tell us, it's always price. The reality, though, is that if somebody was listing 3 years ago and didn't sell, what do you think the chances are their price might be attainable right now? Better than 3 years ago. If it was a year ago, maybe not, but better than 3 years ago. You can set these parameters any way you want. Sometimes people change their mind and they just stay off the market. They might come back. They might want to talk to somebody. This might be the year. It's January, guys. A lot of people set New Year's resolutions. You may want to call them. Maybe you'll be like, they'll be, oh my God, this is the universe talking to me. I can't believe you called me today. This is exactly what I needed. Come on over and list my house. The reality is nobody's calling those folks from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or very few people are. So let's say we've identified a property, right? That we would like to here, bad guys, sorry. That we would like to target from 2 or 3 years ago. Didn't pop up in your daily Vulcan Redx Mojo search. Well, if I was using Mojo, down here, go to the data dialer. And what I can do is I can put in different addresses. I can put in different addresses. I can put neighborhood search. Now, I was looking at an address earlier that would fit this. I'm going to show you this. If you're in Mojo, you go to freeform plotting, right? I want to find the address 3523 25th Avenue South. Here's the address right here. I go to freeform plotting. I do a tight little map around it. Find out, is this a house that has a number listed? It's loading. Hold on a second. And nothing is popping up here. Typically speaking, if there's a pin here, you're gonna see that information pop up down here. Now, there are 17 records in this area, but the reality is you can use your Red X Vulcan Mojo to find individual properties if you like. Now, they may or may not be listed here. There's gonna be a host of other services outside of those that can track people down. Some cost money, some are free. Use it to your, use it as you see fit. But the reality is that you can go in here and find those properties. Now, another way you could potentially do it is, let's say hypothetically speaking, and I can tell you guys I've listed properties this way, what I'm about to show you. Let's say hypothetically speaking, we want to find, I'll just pick any property here. We want to find that property. We want to find that person and they're not listed. I'm going to go do a tax search. I'm going to look at their name. AJ Brock's not really a great name. AJ might stand for something else, but we're going to try it. And I'm going to do a social media search to see if I can find AJ Brock. I'm going to check out Facebook. I'm going to check out Insta. Okay. And then guess what? A lot of times you're going to find some of these folks in Facebook, in Instagram. Now, it's not going to be 100%. You're not going to 100% know, but you can start to deduce. I mean, sometimes you could see they've got an open platform and they got their house listed right there. Like, why is my house not selling? They should be right in their social. Send them a message. Do you know how many people are not sending them messages? Way less than are calling them. Okay, they're going to get some. But I've actually contacted folks before doing this and set up appointments doing this, listed houses and sold houses doing this. Don't be shy if they're not listed. Even if they are listed, consider sending them a message. Some people are going to be like, this is a super invasion of my privacy. Yeah, maybe. Social media is, I don't think so. I mean, you're knocking on their front door. Same thing, right? Send them that message. If they're like, nope, that's not me, big deal. Big deal. It's really not that big of a deal. Contact them in any way that you can to get in front of them and put yourself in front of your competition. So before you subscribe to any of these services, if you haven't already, start with what you can do, yourself. Start with calling these folks by finding them on any free platform other than this. Start by knocking on their door, right? Now, if you knock on their door, I would have some sort of a leave behind. You can come up with that or talk to other people in here. I talk to Dave since he doesn't. But no, honestly, come up with whatever you have. It doesn't have to be rocket science either. It could simply be a business. If you don't have something, a lot of times we have, analysis paralysis where we're sitting there trying to figure out the best strategy ever to do this, and nothing beats action. Just get proactive and go get into action, knock on a door, hand a business card. You're going to have a better chance of getting that listing than not doing anything at all. All right, just do it. Don't worry about it. As time goes on, you can invest more money into this to have the best marketing materials ever and all of the best services, and maybe even hire your own ISA. But while you're trying to get this off the ground, do not spend a ton of money on this. You have time, you have gumption, you have 2 feet, you've got a business card, you've got a mouth, go use it. Go knock on a door, hand the business card, have a conversation. If you're starting in a neighborhood that's already your own and you already know it, there's a camaraderie built there anyway. Was the other agent from the neighborhood? Probably not. Sometimes yes, but probably not. That might help. I might be able to help show some things in the neighborhood, help sell this house where they couldn't because I know the neighborhood so well. Try that. See if it happens. If they tell you get off your stoop, so be it. Get off the stoop. Go talk to somebody else. That's a good way to start. You talked about mailers, Dave. Some other folks might have used mailers. I can tell you that in the past and the present, actually, we use mailers right now. Our mailer is not geared towards getting them to call us. In fact, it doesn't really happen that often that people call us from a mailer of any sort. Our mailer is actually going out to folks and saying, we're going to be reaching out to you. And it's something that we go back to when we open up our phone call. Hi, so-and-so, this is Graham Smith from the Graham Smith team at Caneled Williams. Did you receive the mailer that I sent the other day? As opposed to, I see your house come off the market and are you still looking to hire a realtor? Nobody's saying, did you receive my mailer? It's just something different, right? Did you receive the mailer that I sent the other day? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Great. Awesome. I'm calling because I'm looking to interview for the project. And then you can go into that. I'm looking to earn your business. My mailer says that. I'm looking to earn your business. I'm looking to apply for the job. I'm looking to see if you're looking to go back on the market. Most of your competition is either saying, I have a buyer that I would like to bring through, which they don't. They're lying. Okay. I don't know why everybody thinks it's okay to lie. It's not okay to lie. Don't lie. You don't have a buyer. And somebody will tell you, well, you could be the buyer. Nonsense. You're not gonna buy the house. Maybe you're looking to buy the house, but the vast majority of people in this car are not looking to buy the house, nor have approval set up to buy the house. You're lying. You don't have a buyer. I'm looking to apply for the job. Own it. Be confident. You guys are here for a reason. Be confident. It's yours. Especially if you live in the neighborhood, my God. Yeah, I'm your neighbor. Are you trying to help them? That's the truth, because I am. Are you? Are you? Then it's the truth. Just tell them the truth. I'm looking to help you. Can I apply for the job? Are you looking to apply for the job? Yes. Use truthful statements. Have a conversation. But we send that mailer out ahead of time as kind of a way to, bridge that gap sometimes. Whatever your plan is, write it down. Okay. Start with 5 to 10 points. Write it down. I'm going to set up this geographic search. This is going to be the parameters of my geographic search. I'm going to look at it Monday through Friday and take Saturday and Sunday off. I'm going to call every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday between 9 a.m. Get specific. Okay. I'm going to send the mailer out on day 7. Guess what? You can print some of those here, cut them, stamp them, handwrite, send it. It's not that expensive. You can hire a service to do it all and spend thousands of dollars. I wouldn't do that. Just get that information out. Whatever your plan is, put it together in writing and tack it up in front of where you sit every day so you know what the plan is. You don't forget. Just stick to the plan. Whatever your plan is. There's no wrong way to do this, as long as you're getting in touch with people. Now, the last thing I'm going to come up with is, or share with you while we have about 13 minutes left. Allie asked a question. It was Allie, right? Asked a question about scripts. All right, what I'm about to show you guys is.
Woohoo! Scripts with Graham. Everybody's getting pumped.
That didn't really sound genuine.
I'm just over
That
here
sounds
eagerly awaiting.
But I'm in the wrong place. Hold on a second. I don't have this already pulled up. Hold on one moment. Let's verify. Oh yeah, it's terrible. All right. Some of these scripts I've taken from Bold. I didn't just create all of these myself. If I see something I like, I take it, right? That sounds funny. But with scripts, I absolutely do. I don't have to recreate everything in the script world. In my opinion, these are the 6 objections you're going to hear often. I'm going to stay with the same agent. You just reach your own grip. Oh, sorry. Haha. No. Is it? I thought it was. Could you guys see those scripts, Allie? No? Okay. Gotcha. Hold on one second here. Let me just pull this up. Don't worry about that. Oh my God. Oh no, we can't look at all of this. These are all private. A lot of stuff happening over the last minimize. Save. Yep. Go back over here. Bear with me, guys. Here we go. Can you see it now? Can you see this one?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, gotcha. In my opinion, the 6 major objections you're going to get when you're talking, I'm going to stay with the same agent. I'm going to sell it myself. I'm taking it off the market. We decided to stay. I've already found another agent. Where the hell were you when my house was on the market? Trust me, I've heard that. And for a while, and this one's becoming a little bit over COVID-19. They wanted to wait until that was over. We're actually changing out number 6 to interest rate. Interest rate's the next one we've been hearing lately. I have a 2.9% interest rate, so I've decided to keep my interest rate. I don't want to sell, right? We have another script that deals with that one. Allie, your question was I was going to stay with the same agent, right?
Yeah, if you talk to somebody that if it's a newly expired and you talk to them and they're, and they say, well, I'm not in a contract right now, but I think, we're gonna give our realtor that we just used another chance.
So I'm basically reading a script here, by the way. That's great. Many people tell me that, did I kick that? Many people tell me that, and often what I'm hearing is that they feel obligated to work with the same agent because they put so much time and effort into it. Is that the case?
Yeah, they put a ton of time and money, and I mean, he's here every weekend doing an open house.
I can totally understand that. Say, I'm just curious, thinking about what they're gonna do as they bring that house back to the market. What are they gonna do differently this time that they didn't do last time?
Well, it sounds like he's gonna have a big open house with lots of champagne and caviar, and he's gonna do that every weekend.
Okay, yeah, I can appreciate that. That's another way to really get and hit the ground running and get some added exposure to your property. Let me ask you this. It sounds like they did open houses before. Maybe they're gonna do a few more. Other than that, are they gonna do anything differently?
Yeah, well, it sounds like this agent, he's moving over to a new team. So he's got all this great new marketing package that he showed us on, this PDF file that he shared. And I think it's going to be great.
That sounds like they're bringing a nice fresh look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? I'll tell you what, you don't owe me anything and you certainly don't owe them anything. But Allie, you do owe yourself the very best. And so what I would say is while you're looking at a fresh new marketing plan with them, wouldn't it make sense to get a second opinion right now to see if you do have the best agents working for you?
Oh, yeah, I guess I never thought of a second opinion.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we should get together. And it's a no obligation meeting. If I could keep it to 60 minutes or less, could we make that work this week?
Sure. Yeah, I think we could probably fit that in to see what your thoughts are.
Perfect. I got time tomorrow at 5 o'clock or the next day at 12 o'clock, which works best for you.
12 o'clock.
Awesome, done. And then we would go and set the appointment. It's a typical objection handler for that. You're going to hear it a lot. I'm going to sell it myself. And I'll tell you guys, the reason that I use this bold script, these are the objections you hear. I'm going to sell it myself. Well, I don't blame you at all. After what you've been through, you're probably better off to sell it yourself than working with an inexperienced agent. I love that one. Just a freaking dig to the old agent. I'm taking it off the market. We decided to stay. Cool. Get them in the mindset of where were they thinking of going had they sold. I'm just curious, had you been successful in selling your home, where were you going to move to? And then they're going, oh my God, we're going to do this and that. And then get them in that mindset. If I could show you how to get there in the time frame that you said you wanted to be there for the money that you wanted, would you at least want to know about that? Well, yeah, I would. Great. That's why we should get together. I've already found another agent. Awesome. Did you sign a contract? Well, I'd like to apply for the job. If they signed a contract, there's nothing we can do. Where were you when my house was on the market? I particularly like this one. Basically, the script is that, well, to sell a house once, you have to sell it twice. May I explain? Sure. Great. See, agents typically take houses to the market and they sell them to other agents. And quite frankly, who sell them to their clients. And quite frankly, your agent never sold your house to me. I never even knew it was listed. We specialize in finding the agents that are doing business in your neighborhood and getting the message out to them before the first day on the market. Love to show you that. COVID-19, well, it is, but that one's kind of going on. So as you continue to practice these scripts, and I would encourage you to do it. If you don't have a script partner and you can't find one, talk in the mirror to yourself. I mean, most of my script practicing, the first 10 years I ever did this was to myself. I worked at a different company. Do we have other companies on here? I worked at Edina Realty. There's no script practicing at Edina Realty. That never happens. They laugh at you if you want to do things like that. So I would just script practice in my mirror, practice these scripts. These are really the only objections you're going to hear. You'll get a one-off here and there of something like, whoa, sometimes when I get one-offs now talking to people, I just stop. I'm like, wow, I've never actually heard that before. That's awesome. I have no comment. But really, you're only hearing like 4 or 5 things. Most people say they're going to stick with the same agent or they're taking it off the market. They're going to stay. That's what you're going to hear the most. But I've heard every single one of these multiple times. So to your question, Allie, that's how I would handle it. I'm sure there's plenty of other objection handlers for it. Whatever it is that you're going to use, practice it so that it sounds natural. Most people are stumbling. I can tell you from a scripting standpoint, which is a scripting practice, but it kind of all blends together. We on our team talk about a minimum of 3 no's before you let them go, but ideally 5. Most folks will say yes after the second no. After the third no, you still have a chance, but by 5, it's not happening. It's not happening. They probably hung up on you by then, but the reality is, or they've kicked you off, they're stupid by then. But when you have objection handlers, you can say, I can totally understand that. And what about this? What you don't want to do is say you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You never want to say that. They will throw you off the stoop. They will hang up the phone. They don't want to hear that. You're right. You should list it yourself. And before you do, wouldn't you want another second professional opinion? Even if you don't decide to hire me, you can take all the information I shared with you and use it to sell your home. So that's what I would do. Does that answer your question, Allie?
It answers my question. Yes. I think the biggest thing is just asking for the job, just asking for the interview. Just
Totally.
ask if you can have a face-to-face conversation.
That's right. That's right. Look, I mean, these folks have decided that they wanted to sell their home at one point. And now they've decided they're not. A certain percentage of them are going to be adamant about not going to the market. A certain percentage of them are going to want to go back immediately, and the rest are going to be in limbo, unsure of what they want to do. A lot of this is right place, right time, by the way. It just is. You know, you can be the best scripting person in the world, and if somebody is in the wrong place and you're there at the wrong time, it's not going to come together. And that's why, while we want to apply analyzation and we want to apply a process and a system to this, it's really time on task. Just keep doing the work. The more you put yourself out there on this, the more listings you'll take. That's just the truth. And I put this out there, and I mean this. This isn't just a self-promoting thing. I mean this. If you're in a position where you say, look, I love this idea, but honestly, I'm not comfortable listing houses. I haven't listed any before. Okay. My team's available, and I'm sure there's other people in here that would be available. Find a team or a person, an agent you like. If you're uncomfortable listing a house, don't be afraid of that. This is a great opportunity to learn. Partner up with another agent in here. Ask them what they would do for a cut on a sharing of the listing, right? This is something that a lot of agents would do. There's a lot of experienced agents in here that would work side by side with you, showing you exactly what they do to list homes, while you can still earn a commission. It's up to you if you want to do that, right? But don't be afraid. There's 300 and some agents in this office. If you're uncomfortable listing and you get a listing, bring somebody else in. Yeah, I know it's easy to say, oh man, I'm going to cut all this money off of it. Yeah, maybe, but you're also going to learn how to do the job. And that might be something that is worth way, way, way more than the sharing of the commission on that one listing. That's up to you. And I'm just putting myself out there that our team is available for that.
Hey, Graham, can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you handling the interest rate objection?
Well, we have 1 minute left, and I said I wasn't going to share everything today. So, I really go back to the idea of putting them in the space. It kind of mimics the we're going to stay. Putting them in the space of where they were going to go had they sold. I want to get them in that mindset, because the thing about it is the best buyers in the world are buying because they want to, right? They really want to. They have a need too. We've outgrown this house. I can't do stairs anymore, right? They get in the way of all these other things. Yeah, I have a 3% interest rate. Yeah, but you're confined to the living room. Like literally you can't get around your house. That's ridiculous. I don't say that, by the way, but that is ridiculous. You have 4 children and you have 2 bedrooms. You guys are busting at the seam. Yeah, you have 3% interest rate. When you get back to that area, you can start to do the same thing. If I could show you a way to get to that house this year and pay a lower interest rate than what the going interest rate is today, would you want to know about that? And they may say to you, what do you mean? And I would ask, have you ever heard of a temporary buy down or a permanent buy down of your interest rate? And they'll say no. And you'll say, that's exactly why we should get together. You will use that as the carrot to get into the house, to have the conversation, find out if they're serious about buying.
Thank you.
Yep.